Team CRDL charged Jaune haphazardly. Jaune then did something Covenant-like. Jaune, Cortana, disengage my shields. Cortana, what? Why? Jaune, I want to show how pathetic this team is. Cortana, alright, shields are down. Jaune then took out a baton and charged the cheeseheads. The team tried their best, but they've tried to sweep his feet, but Jaune jumped over while Russell jumped to intercept him. But to his surprise, Jaune aimed his arm at him, and a line flew and pierced the loose part of his clothes. Jaune, get over here. He pulled Russell to him and decked him with a clothesline, sending him spinning in the air. Jaune then used his grapple shot and shoot in between Sky's feet. Sky looks down at his feet and forgot the speeding train coming at him. Cortana then plays a steam train audio. Jaune, next stop, hospital. Then he rams Sky into the ground, leaving a crater. Dev then tries to catch Jaune as he was trying to right himself from the landing. Jaune then spun around and grabbed his hands, then headbutts him, leaving Cardin alone. Cardin, useless idiots. He then readied his mace, which now glows red alright. Jaune, alright, Cortana, document the data on how much damage the Mjolnir armor can negate without the shields. Cortana, sure, Jaune, just remember if the armor does break, you're fixing it. Jaune, sure thing, Mom. Cortana, sad face, you dumbass. Jaune, sad face, yeah, but I'm your dumbass. They both just laughed within the helmet without anyone hearing as Cardin makes a charge. Jaune didn't move as Cardin then smashes the mace into his chest. The dust detonates, leaving a cloud of smoke. Cardin just laughs like a madman, thinking he's won. Then the smoke clears and his laughing abruptly came to a halt. Jaune, I see you are not even taking it seriously. Let me make myself clear. Me as hard as you can. Got it? Cardin, Crystal, as he scowls and charges his mace to full power. Jaune looks at his chest as he finds a small scratch on it. Cortana, sad face, I detect minimal to zero damage to your suit. Jaune, sad face, I'll just buff that scratch out. Then Cardin screams. Cardin, this is everything I got. Let's see if you can take it. Jaune, sad face, Cortana, engage the shields. Cortana, sad face, got it, Jaune. Then Cardin make a leap and goes for an overhead swing. Jaune then just looks at him impassively as Cardin swung down and an even larger dust cloud emerged. Jaune then just looks at him impassively as Cardin swung down and an even larger dust cloud emerged. Cardin was about to start laughing until he was smacked in the face with an electrical baton that sent him flying. Jaune then walks out with glowing gold outline. Jaune then looks at the team who were still down and Cardin struggling to get up. They all look at the monitors to see Team CRDL to see they're all red while Jaune has no damage, which shocked everyone. Cardin tries to stand again, but he was smacked to the floor as a heavily armored foot keeps him down. Jaune, you rushed the objective alone. You don't win unless your team wins. He moved to the center. Jaune, remember you are a team. If you think to lone wolf everything, get out. That kind of renegade behavior is not welcome anywhere. Jaune remembers his time in wars. He may be alone on the field, but he was still a part of a team. Johnson and his Marines was part of his strike force for a large portion of his life. Logistics was where Miranda was, and Cortana handled his tactics. Jaune, all I saw was a failure to communicate, no strategy, only relying on brute force, no discipline. Now who here thinks they can do better? Pyrrha raised her hand. Jaune, who is the leader of that team? Linda, that would be Miss Arc, Sir John. Jaune, it's up to your leader, Miss Nikos, or is there a leadership problem in that team as well? Jean, no sir, she just loves making the choice for everyone, she said with venom. Pyrrha then shrunk in her seat, reminded of her crimes toward Jaune. Jaune sighs and decides to clear some things. Jaune, let me make this clear. Mr. Arc was in the wrong when he decided to fake his way into this academy. But his actions was just the outcome from his circumstances. Weiss, so he is still. Jaune, do not mince my words. His family dictates his response. You of all people here should understand having your family reject your dreams. S.E. Cheney. Weiss was stunned at the venom in his voice. Jean, how do you know this, sir? Jaune, I've met the boy and he asked me on advice on what to do before he came to this wretched place. Linda just flinched because she did nothing to stop the beatings and harassment. Jaune, but his heart was in a good place, not like any of you. Young, what does that mean? Jaune, most of you came here on selfish reasons. Blake just got more upset. Blake, and who are you to lecture us? Jaune, I'm just a soldier, and someone has to address this decline of morals. I may not be innocent anymore, but the better question is who is still innocent? Jaune, you yourself are guilty of hypocrisy as well as your two teammates, so you have an even lower moral standing. RWBY, sir, can we settle it in the arena? Team WY looks at her shocked. Jaune, she's growing up. RWBY and her team trailing behind her all unarmed as Jaune just attached his baton on his back armor. RWBY charges Jaune using her semblance. Jaune noticed her team was in disarray. Jaune sighs again. Her team was still good, but their relationship is torn because of what those three did to me. RWBY spun around him to gain momentum, but also a distraction. Cortana, chief buildup of ice is occurring on your feet. He then looks to Weiss sliding towards him with a dust cartridge in her hand. Jaune, good improvisation. Jaune then raised his foot and smashes the floor and scatters the ice, tripping up Weiss. RWBY then made her strike behind Jaune. Jaune's threat sensor flared and his motion tracker showed him where the attack is coming from. He ducked as RWBY flies past him trying to kick him. He then grabbed her by the cape and swung her around and threw her towards Weiss. Then a blur of yellow and black attacked him on two fronts. Jaune caught a kick from Blake with his right hand and a punch from Young with his left. Jaune then pulled them in close and headbutted them with each other. Young was staggered, but Blake just used a clone and jumped back. Blake, you killed those faunus. Jaune, they made their choice when they chose to support terrorism. Blake, they were just being used. Jaune, tell that to the dead civilians. Jaune used his threat sensor to keep an eye out for her clones. Blake then used the ribbon on her hand to imitate what Chief did. She spun it around and threw it at Jaune, who blocked it with his right forearm as it twirls and binds itself on him. But to prevent her from using her shadow clones, Jaune must make contact. And Jaune used his grapple shot, but activates the voltaic setting and stuns her. As the line draws Jaune in, and he decks her, knocking her out. Jaune turns to see RWBY and Young standing side by side. RWBY, we take him together. Young, I'm taking him now. Young charges and Jaune backhands her away. RWBY, just dang it. Jaune, it seems you also don't have a good handle on your team. RWBY, they did something I didn't approve of, and nothing has been the same ever since. Jaune, deal with your personal problems privately in the field that gets in the way. RWBY, okay. RWBY then went in swinging, but when she landed, hit on Jaune's chest. RWBY, OW, what's that thing made of? Jaune, titanium composite over a gel-layered suit. RWBY, wow. Jaune then tries to turn, but RWBY, I want to make this clear. Jaune is a good person. He was a hero to me. He did the right thing at the end. Jaune, I see. He did have a good friend. RWBY, did he say that? Jaune, he believed it till the end. He then turns to the class. Jaune, alright, take everything you've seen here and learn from it. Class dismissed. As everyone leaves, one person came out to speak to Jaune. RWBY, can I ask for some advice? Jaune, you have my permission. RWBY, how can I be a better leader? Jaune, you must be prepared to send people to their deaths. RWBY, why? Jaune, in war it is acceptable to spend your men's lives. RWBY, but we're not at war. Jaune, battles, conflicts, wars? What's the difference? But what is unacceptable is to waste said lives. RWBY, is this really how the world works? Jaune, yes. RWBY, then I'll strive to make a better one. But I'll have to fix my team first. Jaune, good. A leader must always take command. Carry on, Miss Rose. RWBY turns but looks back. RWBY, you know, you remind me of Jaune. Jaune crosses his arms. Jaune, how so? RWBY, you both defend those who can't defend themselves. That's why you're both heroes to me. Jaune, She left as Cortana spoke. Cortana, seems like you were never alone. Jaune, So anything from the flung? Cortana, not right now. Seems like they're laying low. Jaune, understood. Cortana, Jaune, good news, I'm receiving reports from Red Team. It seems like the clearing of the Dragon continent seems to be complete, and they're starting to build the city. Jaune, good, any further complications? Cortana, none, but a better question is, what do we name the city? Jaune, we'll name it Reach.